Welcome to Pocket Women Lockpicking and Lock Sport. Today we are revisiting the Lockwood 120 and 50 padlock. The silicone sleeved Lockwood that we picked in our last picking video, which I will link in the description below if you want to check that out. Now I needed to tear this down, explode it, pull it apart, explore it, call it what you will. I needed to find out what was inside. So I did just that. So the first thing I discovered was the silicone sleeve is just a silicone sleeve. Comes off pretty easy. All it's there is to protect whatever you attach your padlock to. It'll stop it from getting scratched. That's it. The other thing I discovered was no Lockwood logo. Nothing on this padlock. I shall show you what it should look like. Something like that, but with the black on it because it's the brass version. So there's no indicator that this is a Lockwood once you take this silicone sleeve off, which is a shame because the stamped logo always looked really cool on the brass. The other thing I discovered was it's really difficult to pull a lock apart when you go about it the wrong way. And I'll explain to you a little bit later on all the things I did wrong, but this is what we've got so far. Just want to show you how it operates. That is your core. Now the difference with this core is, let's go in a bit closer. The way it goes in. See this here? Where are we? That there, that's a pin that goes right across. It's not there, it's pinned in from the base. So it's a fairly long one. It goes from there right across to there. Now that is your bypass protection on this lock, because the actuators are one goes that way, one goes the other way. They are on a pin, there's a pin there, and the spring goes on that. So I'll just show you how that operates. So that's it. Simple process. So very easy to bypass if you do not have that bypass protection at the back there. So what I was finding when I was picking and I was feeling something really funky in the back, going something's going on at the back, I was getting caught on that. I was thinking it was possibly 6 pins, but it wasn't. It was 5 pins. Because the core retaining pin, where is that? That is here. It goes in like so, and it only goes to there. So that your pick can get under that. You think it's a 6 pin, but it's not. So that stops to there. Pretty long, coming all the way down into the padlock to about there. So the cap for that, it's either pretty long or this is a pretty long pin. Either way, I was drilling for ages. So that's the padlock itself. Now let's take a look at the pins. These are the key pins. They are not beveled. There's a slight doming at the top, probably left over from the lathe, and they are pointy, not rounded, a little bit pointy. So that's your key pin. Your spool is something very interesting. Check this out. Look how thin that is. Now let's do a comparison. Got another spool here from a Lockwood Padlock. The 334s, in fact, and also the 570 ovals. These are what we call the thin-lipped Lockwood spools. Yes, you can see the lip is quite different in size, but let's just check out the diameter. Got me trusty calipers on here. So the thin lip spool is 246 millimeters, 0.965 inches. The other spool, the 120 N spool, is 1.74 millimeters. Losing it. Zero it back. Make that 177 and 0.695 inches. Now the diameters of the tops of the spools and grab it. 289 1135. And these ones to 81 1095 inches. So I found that very interesting, that there is such a difference between the two spools. So this explains why I was having such difficulty picking it. That plus that bypass protection pin at the back. Quite a difference in picking them. And the length, have a look at the length. These Lockwood spools come in all different sizes so that you can balance your pin stack. However, these do not. So the length on these .595 millimeters, 23.45 inches, very long. So the longest Lockwood long spool, thin lip spool that I have is this one, and it's 512 202. Quite a difference. So very, very long and not a balanced pin stack. So if we do a bit of this, we can see that they were not balanced. There's a slight difference in the base. Look at that third key pin. So these are all regularly the same size key pin, and the ones that are shorter, they did not balance the pin stack. Number 2 is a standard pin, which I drilled into, where are we? No bevels, which is interesting. The beveling was a trademark of Lockwood's. They used to put those on all the pins from their early days. So they're not doing that anymore. So there you have it. That's the pins. That's the comparison. The springs, well, that's what they ended up like. The rest of the padlock, that's what that ended up like. They're the bits to that. The other thing I found that was interesting was when I drilled this out, see that? On the inside of the chamber, all those marks. So they did not smooth off the chambers. So I don't know if that's the marks left over from the springs or whether that is actually machine marks. But either way, that would cause these springs to be a little bit grabby. So yeah, mistakes. Well, hey, there was a few of them. First mistake was I thought I remembered some things on how to do this, but obviously I remembered incorrectly. This was in its unpicked state. I pushed down the end caps down, thinking I would push everything down into the core, then I'd be able to just turn it. But that's not how that works. You have to actually have the plug out first before that process works. So after doing that, they were stuck down there then, and so everything was compressed. So I tried to pick it to turn the core to make things right, and of course I could not pick it because everything was then compressed. So then I needed to try and drill them out, and I was trying and could not drill. Went through 3 drill bits, could not drill those end caps out. So then I thought I will grind it out. So then I started, okay, I've got to grind, I might as well turn it into a cutaway. So this is why it looks like this. And I started doing the cutaway, and I started doing it in the wrong way. With the pin still in there, the core still in there. That is, yep, completely not the way to go about it. So that was another mistake, trying to correct the first lot of mistakes. So eventually I finally got the end caps out by continuing to drill, and I got all those out. As you can see, they're all out, so finally got there somehow. But yeah, made a complete mess of the lock. The other big mistake I made was trying to do stuff inside. Do not grind brass inside. That stuff goes everywhere. Your cleanup is then huge. Big first mistake. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed this teardown of the 120. Stay legal. Temptation is everywhere.